What's up, y'all? I am back for another video. Today, we are reviewing, not reviewing, we're doing my list from top 5 from 2010. 2010, I'm gonna be honest, guys, was a weaker year for me. I couldn't really find a lot. Like, I was only able to come up with 5. I'm gonna be honest, I thought 2009 was gonna be a bit harder, but no, I was actually able to come up with at least 8. This one I only was able to come up with 5, so this one's gonna be a bit shorter. But I did feel like I got some good ones on here. 2011, I don't remember the number, but I was at least definitely able to come up with more. I think 2011 I think it was like at least 7 or 8 I got to. So, we'll be doing that one next week. But yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of get to the video. It's only 5, so anyway. Other than that, let's start. My number 5 is Machete with Danny Trejo. I love this movie. This was one of those Robert Rodriguez. One of those grindhouse movies that originally started off as a trailer, and then they decided to make it a movie, and it's fucking fun. It's a B movie. It's not, obviously, objectively, it's not an amazing film, but I fucking love it. I have fun with it. Danny Trejo at his best. Michelle Rodriguez, even Robert De Niro is in the fucking movie. Like, he's a great villain. Steven Seagal, who, he's a meme now, but I mean, even Lindsay Lohan was it was a fun cast, and hot women. It was just a dumb, fun, just action flick, fun kills. And I think this is the movie where I'm a Mexican. Not a Mexican. Like, come on. How can you not love this movie? Damn it, I'll be honest. Danny Trejo is what makes this movie. And actually, Danny Trejo is also going to be another movie on this list. But yeah, he was awesome in this one. This one was the action. The CGI is horrible, but who cares? Sorry about that. That's my fucking neighbor. Yeah, this movie was great. That's all I can really say. I'm actually, this might be one, maybe not next week, but the week after. I think I am gonna do. I actually might review it because you know what, it's a fun movie. And I know there's a Machete 2, which wasn't as good, but it was still fun. I mean, Danny Trejo's in it, and you could tell he just loves the role. Over the top kills, over the top action. I mean, hot chicks. Where Jessica Alba when she was still very hot. Like, where can you go? What can't go wrong? It's like I said, it's not objectively an amazing film, but it's great. But that's my number 4. My number 5. My number 4 is Insidious, the first one. Insidious 1, man. I'll admit I didn't watch this one till way late. I literally didn't watch this till 2023. But Insidious 1 was so fucking good. The fact that the way this film builds tension, the story of Josh and Lambert's movie, and his family, Renee, who I actually think Renee is my favorite character in the movie. I love her performance when she first sees the entities, And the kid actor, his acting was great. Like, it was genuinely a scary film, and it was very well done, and Patrick Wilson kills it, and the way this film sets the tension, the atmosphere. This is what a good horror should be. A good modern horror, in my opinion. If I were to do a modern horror list, this would definitely be on there. I regret not watching this at the time. I wasn't into horror like that in 2010. I liked some horror. I was really getting to this. I was really into the Scream movies. I hadn't watched the original Halloween, any of the Halloween movies yet. So I wasn't fully into slashers and all that, like, or horror like that. So at the time when this came out, so I didn't watch it. I don't know, I just didn't get around to it. So the fact when I finally watched it, I'm just like, dude, this is good. The fucking scene where you see the red faced demon the first time is one of the most iconic shots in horror, like for sure. That's why I made it the thumbnail when I reviewed it at the time, because that shot is so fucking iconic. Like it stays with you. I can only imagine if people who saw it at the time. And this was like, I love Conjuring, don't get me wrong, but I think this is a better film for sure. I think this one does the scares well. The Dalton's acting when he sees the demons, even the scene when he first sees them and he's in his bed and they're kind of about to get him, and that was fucking like the genuinely well done scares. No shitty jump scares. There's scares that act. Even someone like me who doesn't get jumpy, there was one scare that kind of got me, and that was the red faced. I'm like, bruh. It's like, holy shit, they did this well. No, like, just shitty loud noise. You know, like it wasn't. They actually tried with the scares in this film. So overall, I love this one. Happy I reviewed it. I gotta thank my friend Mara. She was one of the reasons I watched the movie. She was like telling me how good it was. I just wasn't at the time. You know, I didn't. This was 2010. I wasn't into horror, and then even when I got into horror, I wasn't uber into paranormal horror for a while until like more recently. I'll be honest. So this one is great. So that's my number 4. My number 3 is Predators, and I'll admit this one has its issues. Like, I'm not a fan of the final act. I think it's too much like the original final act in the first one. Oh, Adrian covers himself in, or Royce, that's his character's name. Royce covers himself in dirt, like, and I get it. They were trying to, but it was too much. Like, even some of the same execution. I also didn't really like how they just kind of dropped the classic Yacha. I would have rather them had team up. Like, I mean, I know they kind of did that, but like maybe even in the final, like they both fighting the Predator. I know that would have been kind of cheesy, but I would have preferred that over just getting taken out and then, oh, let's just have Royce copy Arnold in Predator 1. I was like, ugh, that's a little that. And I'm also not a fan of. Can we stop making Topher Grace a villain? He's not a villain. I like the idea of a killer doctor. I just don't think he was the right one for it. Granted, there was a part of me at the time I would have rather just had the Predators be the Yacha, because these were like the different they were I'm trying to think of remember the name, because they were a different form of Yacha. They weren't like the classic one where they're much more like aggressive. Like, like the regular Yacha have honor. These ones didn't. Hold on, I'm gonna go into it. I'm trying to think of the name. Hold on. Sorry, this is gonna bother me. I don't think it's just Super Yacha. I think they have a different name. They have a different name. Oh, okay. No, I'm right. They are Super Predator or the Berserker Yacha. Okay, let's call them Berserkers. I think that's a better name. So the Berserker Predator. These were a different breed. They're much more aggressive. They're the Falconer one did have honor. That scene when he fought the Yakuza guy. So they get criminals from different, and I actually love the change up of it being on a Predator planet, like on a plane. I actually really like that. The cast was good. My man, my boy, fucking Walton Goggins is in it. He's such a good character actor. Danny Trejo's in it. I love the kills in it. I do think the only, like I said, I have a few issues. What keeps it from being a perfect film, but I would have rather them not had Lawrence Fishburne. I felt like he was kind of a waste of it because he just kind of gets killed. But the yacht, I do like the idea of the Berserker Predators. So those were cool. Predator dogs were done way better in this than they were in Predator than the Predator. So this one to me is kind of like a spin-off, but I do love this movie. I love the idea it brought. I love the design of the Berserker Predators. I love the idea of it being on a planet, instead of just doing it on Earth again. At least they changed it up. Pretty good kills too, and I love. The only thing is, I do wish they did better with the classic Predator. I didn't like it just getting killed, just so we could have Royce have his Predator 1 moment. I didn't need that. Like, would have rather them have just did something, even if it had been cheesy. Just have them team up on the yacht on the Berserker one. That would have been better. But overall, I do love the movie, and I do love that it also shows the different types of predators. Predator 2 did show that, but it was kind of like the regular Yacha they showed. This one showed like there were the different one. So that's my number 3. My number 2 is Red from 2010. I love this movie. This was one, and I unfortunately didn't see in theaters. I saw it a little bit after, but this one was and apparently it's based off a comic. I actually never read it. I actually didn't even know it was a comic. Apparently it was a DC, I guess, limited DC comic, but I didn't look. I just saw it was Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, even Helen Mirren was fucking awesome. She's probably my favorite character as Vic, retired MI. Like, it's a different group, CIA, you got former, and it's basically older. It's like, it's kind of like Expendables, but with older people. I love it. Like, Morgan Freeman and Bruce Willis have some of the best chemistry in the movie. Great. It was just it's one of those fun action flicks, which actually I'm actually going to review next week. Karl Urban is great. Like, John Malkovich, who, was the villain in Con Air. Like, it was just an awesome film, man. The cast had so much chemistry. It's one of those movies where you actually buy that they were a group. Like, they don't just feel like a bunch of actors just thrown together. Like, they have this cohesion about them. Even Red 2 was great. Red 2 isn't as good, but I do like it still because you still have that dynamic, especially between Morgan Freeman and Bruce Willis. Their fucking friendship in the movie is done so well. And yeah, like, I love that it's older people, and they're fucking badass, especially Helen Mirren. And it's believable. It's not done in a cringy way. You have strong women, and it's done well. Karl Urban, who's fucking awesome. So yeah, I will actually be reviewing this movie next week. I really want to review it because I'm even thinking about putting it, when I put this on a list, I'm like, I want to watch this again. I watched it last year, but I just didn't review it. But I want to watch it again. So we'll be reviewing it next week. I haven't picked the day yet, but it'll be sometime next week for sure. I want to review this. So, and yeah, we'll do Red 2 the following week. It's only 2 movies. So yeah, fuck it. I want to dive back into these. These were great. These are awesome, but both awesome movies. But anyway, before I get to my number 1, which probably isn't going to be hard just because I kind of even mentioned it during the Red discussion or portion of the video. My number 1 is the first Expendables movie. The first I love all of, well, besides 4. 4 is not canon. But the first Expendables is so good. I mean, I remember just being hooked. Unfortunately, something happened and I couldn't, unfortunately, see it in theaters at the time. So I remember being so hyped for it because the cast, I'm like, you have fucking Jason Statham, fucking Sylvester Stallone, Arnold, Randy Couture. Like you got these bunch of big names. Like even just like the '80s ones alone, that's what hooked me. It was like you have Stallone, Bruce Willis, and Schwarzenegger in one fucking movie. Holy shit! And then yeah, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, just the cast alone is when then I ended up watching the movie and man, it was fucking awesome. Um, and just the idea he's this elite group of mercenaries and the fact that they pulled off like the banter. That's one of those things you gotta feel like if you're gonna be this group of mercs, you gotta feel like you have like that friendship, and they do. They nail it perfectly, especially in the first one. And the violence, the level of violence, and you know, Bear, Barney is hired for a mission, and then this is where by Church, um, to usurp basically a dictator, um, and the villain, um, Monroe is so good. I'm trying to think of the actor's name he played him. Oh, Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts killed it as Monroe. He was such a hateable villain because we find out he's the real villain. Yeah, the dictator is there, and then Steve Austin as Payne was great too. And then the fight between Payne and Couture, well, like the action scenes were great. So when I see, I mean, just sidebar really quick before I'll get back into the movie. When I see action scenes like fucking from Echo, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You can do good action scenes. This movie, I mean, alone, like the fight between Randy and Kane was fucking awesome. Even just like not, and I'm not even just talking about the scenes where they're just shooting motherfuckers. I'm talking about like actual hand to hand fighting. Even just some of Jet Li's fighting in this movie and in the second one, which will be in the 2012 list for sure. Probably won't be number one though, but yeah. Um, this was fucking awesome. I love this movie. The ending, the banter between the team, the action scenes. Monroe as a villain is so hateable, and the moment he gets his, you cheer. Like even Eric Roberts nailed it. And yeah, it was just simple. It was an '80s action flick in 2010, and definitely left you wanting more. You loved like the friendship between Christmas specifically and Barney is done so well in this. And yeah, I think this is probably the best one, though I love to. I love to, though. But this is probably the best one, objectively. I think this one just has the best plot. It's just simple. Though I don't think it has the best villain. I think, ironically, 3 is a little bit on the weaker side, especially because they released it PG-13. But Mel Gibson is so good in that one. So yeah, I think he's probably the best villain. Just because his whole dynamic with Barney is so fucking well done. But 3 is definitely on the weaker side. But yeah, it has the best villain. But this one is probably objectively overall the best. I just think the simplicity of it is what makes it work. It has the best effects, Yeah. And I wish I saw it in theaters. It was one of the, if I remember at the time, this was when school started in August. Because I remember this was going into ninth grade. I was going into ninth grade at the time. And this movie, I was supposed to go see it. I think my mom was supposed to take me to go see it. And then that week I had to go to school. And then we never got around to seeing it. It just kind of happened that way. We didn't get around to seeing it because school started earlier. Because up until that point, school usually started in September. But then that was when school starting in fucking August and shit. So that's kind of what fucked it up for me. So because of that, I just didn't. I mean, I ended up seeing it still, but I saw it like later in 2010. Like I think this would have been it was like December. It was either December 2010 or January 2011. Between those two was when I finally watched it. It was whenever it was finally on home video, or yeah, this would have been still before like streaming. But yeah, so it's like I just didn't get around to seeing it. I would have loved seeing this in theaters. I was so hyped to see it in theaters too, just because of the cast, and then it delivered. So this is definitely my favorite film in 2010. Probably my most rewatched one of that year, though. But yeah, I hate it. I hate that this video is a bit shorter. I love when Initially, no, yeah, I did 5 when I first started doing some of these videos, but I loved actually when they started growing a little bit, when I actually can get to like almost like 12 or 10 or over 10 even a little bit. Like I love that shit. It's fun. You know, it makes there's more movies to talk about, but that's just 2010 was just like that, you know, and it's probably gonna get like that for a while because you know, we're getting into the 2010s. We're in the 2010s now. There just isn't. There's iconic films this decade. I'm not one of those. There's nothing good from this decade, but it's just not as much. Like, I just don't think it'll be as much as like when you're in my 80s and 90s. That's just how it is. But I still love this series. Um, but yeah. So, but yeah, number one is Expendables for 2010. Next week on Monday, we'll be doing 20. It'll probably be during the day next week though. 2011, I'll be doing, yeah, we'll be doing 2011, um, which I think was a bit better. I'll spoil my number one. I mean, it's The Raid. The Raid, that first Raid film was so incredible. That when I first watched that, I was just like, what the fuck? And I had seen a lot of martial arts movies even up until that point, but it's like, holy shit, that movie. So yeah, but yeah, I can't wait to get to that year. But so I'll be doing that next week. Tomorrow, I'll be doing the first Saw movie. We're going to be diving into the Saw franchise. The first, I'm in the camp. Saw probably should have. I can agree with some who say Saw should have been one. I'm fine with it if they had done a trilogy. Like that would have been fine. But I just think after that, it just became. Don't get me wrong. Some of the kills were great in the later ones as just visually, but it was more about the kill count than the actual story. And also, just from some of the reviews I've seen of the later ones, I'll be honest, I watched the first three. I haven't watched a lot of the later ones, not all the way through. I've seen the kills, and I know some of it. Like, and definitely some of they made it so convoluted towards the end where he was this much ahead. It was like, okay, it's kind of a meme now. But Saw X was solid. So that's part of the reason I kind of wanted to finally touch this franchise. I didn't want to review. It would have made no sense to review Saw X at the time and not have reviewed the other ones. I probably could have did it that way, but fuck it. I was like, you know what? Let's review it along with the franchise. So we'll be doing Saw 1 tomorrow, and then Wednesday I'm gonna rant about this stupid gender neutral law they're trying to. I don't know if it's. I gotta look and see if it's fully official or if it is. I'm gonna fucking. Oh man. It's gonna piss me off. That pisses me off. Just like kids. Okay, anyway, I'll save that for Wednesday. But all right, guys. 2010 just wasn't a great year like that. I just couldn't come up with more. But 2011, I was able to. I think 2012 will definitely be. I think they're thinking about it. 2012 had some good ones, so 2012 should be an easy year too. So, but anyway, guys, I'm gonna call it here. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all later. Peace.